I wonder if anybody out there, anybody at all, I wonder if anybody knows what day today is. Wes, do you know what day today is?
I hope you're referring to it being West Day. But besides that, I have no clue. I don't even know what the day. Well, actually, I do. It's my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris!
Whoa! Happy birthday, Chris! That's cool. We got little virtual, mini virtual birthday. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like you know, Dead Ringer, the game cat. Obviously, we call his kids the Little Ringers, and so I don't know. There's got to be something for your kids.
But, I can't say it on air. What I call them.
Little shits, huh? Just kidding.
Something like that. Yeah.
Nice. And on that note, we'll start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on PSVR. Without Parole, we do it live on YouTube, 6 p.m. Eastern, for your viewing pleasure. For those of you, however, who like to watch with your ears, our good friend Jay Meow uploads this thing on podcast services of your choice. That's the thing. He's been keeping me posted. He's doing well. If you're a podcast listener, those should be back for you. So thank you, Jay, for doing that. My name is Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And the gentleman to my right, it's Wes Dillon from the Strangers Who Are Virtual. What's happening, bud?
Not much, man. West Day as usual. Kind of digging it a little bit more though now because the release schedule has calmed down enough to let me kind of do my recon efforts for this Sunday's top 25 debate.
The top 25 debate. I'm so excited, man. It's going to be a blast. Wes, because we kind of came in so hot today. I didn't notice your microphone is distorting a bit. So if you want to turn that down, I'll turn you up from this end.
It's exactly what I was telling you about the other day. This knob, just like the eye adjustment on the headset, man, it moves itself.
Moves all on its own. You want to give me a test 1, test 2?
Check 1, check 2. Syphilis.
Everybody sound good out there, everybody? Does he sound good? Yeah, he sounds great. That's right. Everybody knows it. Looper, the Underground Game Cat with the €5 says, this Sunday, will Saints and Sinners 1 and 2 count as separate entries or as a single bundle? Same question from us. Yeah, I'm so fucking glad you asked that, Looper, because guess what? Yours truly figured out that answer days ago, because we're all trying to internally figure out a top 25 list so we can kind of get the show all ready to go, so presented well for you guys. Anyway, how do we cover this? It's always a question, right? Like, we never know what to do with this shit. So I came up with a solution, and you guys out there, I haven't even asked anybody else their opinion, so Wes, feel free to chime in on what you think of this. The solution is Moss Book 1 and 2, Saints and Sinners Book 1 and 2, that's not what they're called, get lumped into one slot on the top 25 list, right? It's just there. However, to make things fair, that where it falls on the top 25 list, we're not going to rate it as a bundle, as two games. That would be completely unfair, right? There's way too much content there. There's way too much stuff going on. You can't rate two games against one game. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where those games fall based on what we consider the best game of the two. So likely Moss Book 2, likely Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. That will determine where it falls in the top 25. Do you agree with that decision, Wes?
Wholeheartedly. And this was actually something that I was going to bring up until you literally answered it right as I was going to ask it. I agree with this because, again, there's only 25 spots. And, even though we are only a few months in, it's not easy narrowing it down to 25. And I do find it interesting, though, that you say that Moss Book 2, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 would likely be the higher ranking. And I agree, for what it's worth. I agree. I didn't expect that everyone would, though, because I think I've heard you or maybe AJ or maybe Miles, one of you kind of allude to liking the earlier chapters better in these games, which I disagree with. I think the later ones are better.
It's a tough call, I think, because when you talk about something like Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, there's so much of what made Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 so good in that game. Locations, weapons, the crafting tables, the safe zone, the home base, whatever the hell they call it in there, the resting place. And so for me, it's the originality in Chapter 1 and Book 1 kind of feel more special, right? Both of these games feel like just straight continuations of the game that preceded them. And so from a creativity and originality standpoint, yes, I think the original ones are better. However, when it comes to gameplay mechanics and different, I mean, especially in Retribution, the number of things you can craft, some of the cooler new places that differentiate themselves from the older places you could go, like visually, especially. I think you're right. I think they are better games. Which ones do I personally like more? Maybe isn't part of the question, because creativity, I think, goes a long way.
They're improved versions of the originals. They have more depth of gameplay and more overall. They're longer. They have more things you can do. They're just better. But you're right. The early ones get points for originality, and of course have that nostalgia factor going for them as well.
Yeah. Man, Jordan in the chat saying when he played Chapter 2, it was busted because the zombie AI was unresponsive. It's so funny that we played stuff before I played Retribution before the game launched, and they were trying to fix some last minute bugs that really screwed up some other shit. And so all the complaints that I've heard about Retribution, I have not actually experienced for myself. Maybe one of the many things I need to go in and check throughout the course of this week as I go back and play things like Horizon Call of the Mountain and check to see, does the reproduction really bother me like it sort of bothered me in Hubris, and play a little more Gran Turismo and some of these things that I sort of loved when I got to play them and then shelved because I had to move on to other things. So it's going to be a really busy week over here behind the scenes. But I'm excited. I'm excited because we've been wanting to do this top 25 list for a while, and I'm excited to do it with all four of you. I'm excited to do it with all four of you, knowing all four of us have played mostly all the games. And so we're not going to leave anything out just because one of us hasn't had a chance to play it. I like that.
Word.
Beat Saber, top 5, right? Right, Wes? Right, Wes? Right?
What do you
right?
What do you think?
I think you're going to get outvoted is I think what's going to happen.
You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think I'm glad. This is the only case that I'm glad Dreams didn't make it to PSVR2.
Wait, what was your stance on Dreams? Was Dreams on your top list or no? No.
No, I mean it was, but it was. You had it like number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, I'm always trying to fuck with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, what I did with Beat Saber, you did with Dreams in the opposite direction. So.
Just throw everybody for a loop. That's right. All right. Man, we got a lot of shit to talk about today. One of the things that we've been wanting to talk about is the amount of shovelware that may or may not be on the PlayStation VR2 store. This is something that when I talk about Tornado's like playing with my foot. Do you get nothing else to play with? Nothing else? Okay. She's got nothing else to play with. She's playing with my foot. A lot of times when PlayStation VR2 conversation comes up, people will say, they'll talk about games, right? And sometimes in the original conversation was, PlayStation VR2 is great, but it has no games, or something along those lines, right? Very trolly type statements.
Yeah.
But somehow the conversation has turned into nothing but shovelware on the PlayStation VR2 store, which is like, what? Like that's even a more ridiculous statement. I mean, what do you define, Wes? What do you define shovelware to be? I'm sure everyone has a different definition. We're going to go get the official definition in just a second here. But what do you consider it to be?
Garbage, no effort, garbage from unknown indie devs. That's pretty much my definition of it. Well, typically unknown indie devs. I mean, I guess there's a few devs out there that are known for shovelware, but yeah, they're just low quality, low effort titles. And I do think it's comical as we're about to examine. The Sony store is one of the places where you'll find the least amount of shovelware. Like if you go to Steam or Viveport, it's a friggin' cesspool wasteland of shovelware. And the Sony store, even like the PlayStation VR1 store, is just a minuscule fraction of what you'll find over there.
Yeah. Distracted in the chat says shovelware is not the problem. The storefront is. Don't place it amongst the quality titles. But then who's to determine what the quality titles are, right? I feel like I'd rather sift through. It's obviously Wes. I assure you guys, he's open. I always go to the top when this conversation comes up, right? Because it wasn't even allowed on the Quest storefront because Quest decided, some arbitrary person at Quest arbitrarily decided that no, this game doesn't belong on the Quest. But meanwhile, it was a title that constantly fell into some of our early top 25 list on the PlayStation VR1, and we absolutely loved it over here. So like the last thing we would ever want, I'd rather have 100 shovelware titles get through to make sure that one quality piece of software also gets through that could easily be mistaken, by somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about for shovelware, right? We'll do the research for you. Like, we'll make sure that we play the crap so you don't have to. We'll tell you what the good games are, what the bad games are. We'll help you out in those situations. But I think the bigger problem is that, obviously, a lot of people aren't listening to reviewers. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not talking about Wes. I'm talking about just don't pay attention to any kind of reviews, period. Right? Otherwise, shovelware wouldn't exist. And so the definition over on Wikipedia, which I really like, for shovelware video games is low budget, poor quality video games released in the hopes of being purchased by unsuspecting customers. That's often referred to as shovelware. This can lead to discoverability issues when a platform has no type of quality control. Shovelware video games often have a negative reception from critics and players. I like that they say often. Like like there's some shovelware that's like accidentally good. And no effort was put into it, or it was just kind of like, a quick port. Listen, Deadland is not a good game, right? And it may very well be the definition of shovelware. I don't know the developer. I don't know if there's any love put behind this thing, but Deadland, I really, really enjoyed and don't recommend that anyone play it. Everything's broken over here. 720 trailers, man. Who posts trailers in 720p? This ruins everything over here. There we go. It's probably going to crash OBS too. OBS hates this kind of shit. Endless Runner, Deadland. Endless Runner was like, I don't know, $5 on the PlayStation store, PSVR, and it was. I think it's because I was our only Endless Runner. It was janky. It was stupid. I couldn't stop playing it till I was done. So sometimes these things can turn out to be kind of fun. Any examples of shovelware that you actually liked, Wes, or is it just generally shit to you?
Not on PlayStation. Typically, by the time people were putting garbage out on PlayStation, I had moved on and was playing multiple platforms and just kind of cherry picking the best. I do want to say that in my examination of what I considered to probably be shovelware, I have found some hidden gems. For example, there's a game on Viport called Space Cats with Lasers, and I thought it would be garbage, but it was actually pretty fun to play. It's a kind of like a bullet hell wave shooter where you have a cat gun on your hand.
I'm sold.
And yeah. And like you have to move it around like Yuki and keep it from getting hit by all of the stuff coming in. But yeah, occasionally you will find one that's good, but I don't think that it's necessarily shovelware. I just think maybe I was mistaken about it being shovelware.
Well, and I think a lot of games can get mistaken for shovelware too, right? And this is where the terminology gets a little bit tough. It gets a little bit, because I think it's so easy just to be dismissive of everything, right? When I reviewed Break Stuff, and the developers that I talked to were so passionate about their games, right? It was two of them over there that were working on the game, and they weren't totally sure of some of the game mechanics before launch. I reviewed Break Stuff, and they literally went through and changed every single thing that I complained about. Whether it be the amount of time it takes to get to the next stage, I don't know, some of the throwing mechanics, like all this stuff, and but it was like this list. It's as if they went through the game, went through my review and just fixed everything. And it's like, and it's hard to say that a developer doesn't care about their game, or that it's literally just on the store to make money when they put that much care and that much thought into it. And they're like, oh, this is what they didn't like. The big problem was that the game itself fundamentally wasn't a good concept, right? In the same way that Rage Room wasn't a terribly good concept, poorly executed as well. But we expect more from VR games. We don't want them to be experiences anymore. And so,
right.
And so I don't think the core reason Break Stuff is on the PlayStation Store is just thrown on there to make some money, and from developers that don't care about it. Like I genuinely think they wanted to make a good game and just didn't either have the resources to, or didn't know what people were looking for. And so I think sometimes when you call stuff shovelware, it can get really, really dicey.
Yeah, you have to be really careful when you have these kind of conversations, on air, because you never know who's like soul you're going to crush by making fun of their game, or laughing about it, or just putting it down. Because you're right, I think a lot of the times it's at least possible, stuff like Break Stuff like Rage Room, this stuff kind of would have worked in 2016, 2017, because VR was new to everyone back then, and they're pretty much tech demos of things that you can do in VR.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what could be happening in some of these cases is that we have traditional game developers who are new to VR, and they're just not caught up the way that we've been playing VR for 5, 6, 7 years now, and it's new to them. So they're kind of just years behind the rest of us. And they think, having a game where you just break stuff in VR is a good idea because it's fun to them, They don't quite understand that everyone's kind of moved past this stuff at this point. But then again, maybe VR catches on tomorrow and we get 10 million new users and they all love to break stuff in VR. So who are we?
Yeah, I mean, what do we know? I mean, the fact that you could, I think you could look at Drunken Bar Fight just as easily and be like, that is that's shovelware, right? Especially at first, before they kept adding new levels and kept adding new items, and when it was a very basic game where it didn't even have turn buttons when they first ported it to PSVR, in that game made it on the top 10 sales charts all the time. You have people defending it, saying it's one of my favorite games to play in VR, and it's okay. You know what? We're all different. We all want different things when we put on the headset. But I do think that there are some things that are very clear, and it's just either ripping off another title or just garbage. And so yeah, I think you're right. I think we have to be careful when we talk about this stuff, and I think things like Rage Room. Probably. I mean, so did you play the PC? I can't believe we're talking about Rage Room right now. Did you play the PC VR version?
Maybe for about 15 minutes. I didn't put any real time into that one.
Because it seems like when I watch the trailers or watch footage of the PC VR version, people are having a good time, which is not something I found on PSVR. The physics seem to work well. And at least like the walls and character models had like this sheen on them, like this reflective shine. And you turn on the PSVR 1 version and everything just looked flat. The physics were terrible, and like it didn't feel satisfying to hit anything. And so I'm my guess is that the PlayStation VR got a port that could be considered shovelware. But I'm very curious about the original. True.
Yeah, I don't know. I was already done with tech demos at that point anyway. I wasn't really all that high on Rage Room. I did not play it on PlayStation at all. I might have tried it on PC, but I don't really have any real recollection of it.
We got Samson143 VR. Hey, Wes. I want to talk to Samson. I don't have a lot of energy today. It's not great. $5 tip says, Happy West Day. Glad I caught y'all live again. Been a minute. Thanks for joining us. I hope you two Samson and the Game Cats are doing well. You see Upload VR just did a top 25 PSVR2 list? No, I don't. I can't stand Upload. I think they're awful, and I don't like their opinions. I mean, I'm just being honest here. You know, back when Jamie Feltham worked there, I was like, oh, at least there's somebody over there that I sometimes agree with. And now it's just, I'm like, does anybody over there actually play games? And the answer, I hate to tell you, is no. So I didn't check out their top 25 list because I don't like them. And sorry if anyone from Upload VR, but who gives a fuck what I think of you? It doesn't matter. Sure, some people over there don't like me. And it's not fun, man. It's not fun. We're gonna do a really fun debate for you guys, and it's gonna be and we're gonna get your opinions. We're gonna be taking lots of polls. You guys wanted polls on Monday, you're getting lots of polls on Sunday, I promise. I don't know what's on their top 25 list. I'm tempted to go over and look at it right now just to like confirm my suspicions, Wes, but it's not going to be the best of the best.
It's not terrible. I mean, there's some stuff on there that I don't agree with, obviously, and some stuff that's way overrated, but for the most part, the skeleton, the structure of it is pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
if I remember correctly, I just kind of glanced over it, but
wasn't What the Bat their game of the year last year? Dude, like I played through What the Bat and I still need to review it. 4 out of 10 maximum. That game is just ridiculous. And by ridiculous, I don't mean
Shovelware.
Funny.
Shovelware.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It doesn't
kind of, right?
Yeah, it does. Like I feel like I could actually really enjoy a game like that. Like when where you do kind of like this weird action and then it triggers all sorts of really cool actions. But there was just nothing. The creativity that I saw in What the Bat was so few and far between. It appeared. It's just I had to force myself to play through that game. Like after every single stage, I was like, okay, I'll just do a couple more because I'm already playing it. I know I'm not going to come back to this thing for a while, and I just wasn't fun. Wasn't fun. So I'll check it out though eventually. But thank you, Samson. Maxwell Rift with the $2 tip says, have you seen the Among Us clone on the store? Yes, Maxwell, we have seen the Among Us clone on the store, and we're going to be talking about that soon because I definitely want to go through the PlayStation store. I want to pick out a few things that might be considered shovelware, read through the description, and we'll figure this out together. But we're going to get there. In fact, I don't know if there's a trailer on the PlayStation store, but I do have a trailer for it currently, and we're going to take a look and see how much of an Among Us ripoff it really is. Living Legend with the Canadian $5 tip says, awesome asteroids, IMO. Seems like shovelware. The sense of speed is not there. Looks super blurry, low-res assets, etc. What do you guys think? I only played a couple stages of Awesome Asteroids, and I don't remember the assets being blurry. I thought the eye tracked weapons were pretty cool. It's also priced right, I think too, right? Like sometimes developers are putting out these kind of smaller games and they're charging, $20, $25 for them. And you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? From what I played, Awesome Asteroids seems like it was priced right. And the people who have played it, we got Elvert in our Discord, AJ's played it. Everyone says they really liked it. So I think this might be the first time I've heard somebody say that they weren't a fan of Living Legend. But I don't want to put my stamp of approval or disapproval on it until I've actually played through the whole thing. Have you had a chance to play that one, Wes?
Nope.
That was the shortest response I've ever gotten from you for any question I've ever asked for the year we've been doing this.
But in fairness, there's a lot of games. There are all-time great VR games on PSVR2 that I haven't had a chance to play yet. So that's kind of what this week is all about, is finding time to get in and put some time into that stuff.
This week. Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €2. Making it so I don't have to go and check out the list. It says Upload doesn't even have Saints and Sinners on the list. Does that include Retribution or Chapter 1?
I don't know. I've got it in another window here, I can tell you. Probably not. It's not shocking. No, wait a minute. No, they've got Moss Book 1 and Book 2 in the same spot. So yeah. I got to imagine if they don't have one so
they don't have
Saints
either
and Sinners,
one, possibly.
Yeah, they don't. It looks like there's no, it's not on here at all. That's right. That's crazy.
All my suspicions have been confirmed.
There's something behind that. Like, that's not a mere oversight. Either
you don't think so?
There's some kind of political reason going on here behind that, or maybe some kind of advertising budget dispute. Like, how can you forget about what might be the best VR game of all time?
Yeah, I mean, certainly one or both of those belong in the top 5, if not the top 10. And them are fighting words, depending on who you talk to. Speaking of fighting words, Miles Dyer with the level 2 membership comes through with "What the bat?" More like, "Where's the plat?" Yeah, no platinum trophy. What a joke,
Miles.
What a joke.
On fire with the dad jokes and puns lately, man. Just killing it.
Rody, the Game Cat Army General, in the chat says they also have Before Your Eyes in the top 5. It's funny. I was just talking to, I think it was Miles. I was talking to Miles saying, like, games like Before Your Eyes, like, I highly doubt that you guys saw my review. You know, that didn't hit me emotionally like I wanted it to. I wanted it to make me cry. I like shed a tear, but like I wanted to be fucking bawling in that headset, right? Because that was like the mission of the game, like to be like, hey, you are this character and shit's going down. Cry, motherfucker. And like I was sitting there going, make me cry. And they're like, no. And I cried at everything, dude. I've cried at commercials before. Like I'm just a mess emotionally.
It is kind of different when you're expecting it, though, right? When you're expecting something to really hit and you're emotionally preparing yourself for it, and it's just kind of all right.
Yeah,
I think maybe our expectations played a role, as they often do here in the VR land.
It's true. Okay, I'll give you that. And on top of that, I will say that when I was talking to Miles about Before Your Eyes, I was like, that's the kind of game that, like, even though I don't want to put it in my top 25 because it didn't do the thing I wanted it to do, it's the kind of game that I feel like deserves some kind of recognition for trying something different and trying something new and using the blink mechanic in a new way, in a different way than we've seen in any other game. And so, like, if it made it on the top 25 list, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, okay, sure, somewhere on there, just to say this is one of those unique experiences that doesn't quite work almost anywhere else, like it works on PSVR2 because of the eye tracking.
I think as time goes on and the library kind of builds out, that maybe we should do like a top 5 or top 10 interactive experiences type thing. Let me ask you: do you prefer that, or do you prefer The Last Worker? Because I think they both have some merits to them, and I'm not sure which one I would rank higher if I were going to put either one of them on the list.
Yeah, so neither one is making my list. Again, if you saw my reviews, you know why. The Last Worker is a game I really wanted to like, and I don't know. I feel like I would rather see Before Your Eyes on the list. Like if our other co-hosts were adamant that it belongs on there. The Last Worker, I feel like, was almost there, and with a few key design decisions, I think it could have been a great game rather than just a painfully average game, which is what it ended up being.
Yeah, I think they inflated it a little bit, especially early on, making you do this redundant gameplay stuff in it when really the story was the driver. Although I think I kind of like it a little bit better than Before Your Eyes, just because of the gameplay stuff that they put in it versus just experiencing it.
12, the backlogged game cat. It says Synapse. Okay, this is the last comment I'm reading about the Upload VR top 25, and then we're not going to talk about it like literally ever again. He says Synapse is on there, which is crazy because it's a really recent title, right? And so, like, we know that this list is up to date. He says, but no backlog. No backlog. No, I read your game. I read your game cat name. Synapse is on there, but no mention of Hubris, which is crazy. I definitely think Hubris is the better game, even if Synapse makes you feel cooler. I don't know.
I'm not so sure I would agree with that, and I don't want to do Sunday's show today, so we'll just save that one for then. I got to say, I like both of those games. I think they're both must-buy games for PSVR2. A bit surprising that Hubris was overlooked and Unplugged is on their list.
Okay, we got to move on. I can't because literally right now, I kid you not, you guys. I will change the thumbnail right now, and we will go over to the Upload VR site, and we will go through that top 25 list, and that'll be the topic of the goddamn show. I'm not kidding. We need to move on before I do that.
I was going to suggest that until I realized, wait a minute, our top 25 is coming on Sunday. Right. We don't need to have this conversation right now.
Which we're already having. You're right. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. I saw Ted Rex in the chat. Was it Ted Rex? He says, I think Brian needs a hug. Yeah. Ted Rex, the game dinosaur. I do need a hug, man. I do. I just need to snuggle. I watched Is It Cake Season 2, though, man, and I will tell you that was therapeutic for me. Like, I'd been waiting so long for that to come out, and it just felt good. Because, dude, how often is it that you wait for a movie to come out? You wait 15 years for a new Indiana Jones movie, another 10 years or 20 years after that for another one, and they turn out to be bad. Like, I haven't seen Dial of Destiny, so I'm just, assuming. It's like shit that we want to be good always turns out to be bad. So Is It Cake Season 2 ended up being good, Wes. And that's just something that happens so infrequently that I'll take what I can fucking get, dude. I'll take what I can get. I need a
fun time to watch television, Brian. There's a new season of Broken Mirror out, or Black Mirror, and I haven't even watched it yet.
It's only 6 episodes. I swear I did that in like 1 or 2 nights. I did that very quickly, and 2 of them didn't feel like Black Mirror episodes. They just felt like, hey, this is Twilight Zone, just like random topics that Black Mirror doesn't usually cover. Yeah, that's typical that there's an outlier or 2 that doesn't quite fit. But the good ones are typically so good that, Yeah, and there are a couple so good ones in there that are very memorable. So, good stuff, though. Find some time to do that. What are we talking about? Okay. I don't think I missed any tips. I think we can actually move on, right?
Upload VR. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, that was the topic. All right, man. Well, then let's. I think it's time to head on over to the PlayStation Store and figure this out and see if we can. There's not that many PlayStation VR2 titles. Like, this is probably the last time we go through the store looking for things like shovelware. Pardon me, tornado. But I think it is time to head on over there and look at this. Did this work? I don't know if this worked or not. Didn't work. Oh, that's why. You guys just hang out. Talk about it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Talk among us.
Why is the design on the PlayStation Store so inconsistent? Like, I don't understand.
Are you up on the same? I sent you the link that I'm using. I guess we're going to go through this by like bestseller or whatever. However they normally organize this.
Well, yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I didn't use your link, but I'm on the PlayStation VR2 games, and
it's the one that brings up
Beat Saber, Synapse, No Man's Sky, Resident Evil. Yeah,
I do. I 100% agree with. I think it was Distracted who said that the PlayStation Store sucks. It needs a lot of work at least. I shouldn't say it sucks. It's actually somewhat functional.
How stupid is it that there's no prices on this page? Like, if you want to know how much a game costs, you have to literally click into the game. And here's another thing. You can rank these however you want. You can rank them by release date, whatever, old to new, A to Z, however you want. As soon as you click on one to find the price out and you hit backspace to come back, it all resets and you have to rank them all over again.
That's right. You have to click the numbers on the bottom of the page to not lose your... Yeah, it's ridiculous. And also, why is it defaults to best selling, right? And so, like, if you are trying to, great. It's like, so the games that you were already here to buy are front and center. Like, you're just not going to find, anything, any of those hidden gems. By the way, this is sorted. Anyway, so Gran Turismo 7, Beat Saber, Synapse, blah 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 blah. I'm looking through. Obvious, the first. Most of these are not going to be considered. Shovelware, especially if they're on the bestseller list. Did you play? How is Trip on the page of bestseller list? Like, isn't Trip like $50 or $60, and it's like a meditation app?
It shouldn't cost that much, does it?
I'm pretty sure it does.
Holy shit! It is $60. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is on Quest, I think. Is it $60? Has it always been $60?
I think it's more expensive on PSVR2 for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's like twice as much on PSVR2.
Yeah. You Got Cold Yogurt has a very important question. I cannot wait for $2. It says Synapse good or Light Brigade? Synapse good or Light Brigade? Which would you choose, Synapse or Light Brigade?
Yeah, we kind of touched on this a little bit when we talked about Synapse. Someone asked this very question. I like them both. I think Synapse edges it out based on a couple things. One, just the general overall polish of the experience. Mm-hmm. I think that it feels more like a AAA game, where Light Brigade is still kind of obviously an indie game, but a very good one. And just originality. Like Synapse is kind of a unicorn with regard to the gameplay and some of the ways that they're using the features in the headset, where the Light Brigade's more of a like traditionally structured gameplay loop. So I say Synapse, but I really, really like the Light Brigade a lot, and I think that people should try both of them.
I agree. I think the Light Brigade has just an infinite amount of depth compared to Synapse. Synapse is very, you start off strong and you're just even stronger by the end. I think the Light Brigade is a little more of what I'm looking for. So I think from a gameplay mechanic perspective, I like the Light Brigade better.
It's funny if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're very similar games in terms of structure. They have, I think, exactly the same amount of levels. They have, Light Brigade has a bit more enemy diversity. I think that's the big plus for Light Brigade, is that there is a bit more enemy diversity. There's more weapon diversity, and there's boss fights. So that's a big plus on the side of the Light Brigade. But in terms of like the progression and how the runs, how you're able to build a loadout through your runs, the kind of level layout, they're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just love that there's different classes in the Light Brigades, which just adds like so much more replayability. So it feels different every time you choose a different character. If you really want to see everything the Light Brigade has to offer, it's going to take you a long time. But then again, Synapse is just more fun to play, and that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Period. All right. So. Yeah. So guess how much Trip costs on MetaQuest?
Oh, is it free to play?
It is free to play.
I thought I'd heard that. Right. Well, maybe that didn't work out for them. Maybe they weren't getting the in-app purchases that they were hoping for, and they were like, "Well, fuck it. If people aren't buying shit, then we got to charge them somehow." And they changed their entire business.
It's on the bestseller list, Brian, and it's on the best. Like, if this ranking is correct, it's a top seller.
Right. It's on the first page of the PlayStation VR2 sale. This page sale store. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So break stuff is obviously on here. I got to page 3 while we were talking, just kind of like going through here. Break stuff is obviously on here. Kazuna AI, I haven't played it personally. I know no one seems to like it. It's not a good game. It's not fun. And that could very well be considered shovelware, especially considering it seems like some kind of cash grab based on, some Japanese idol type thing. But getting to page 4, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like Miles and I both played Rhythm Planet. I think, did you play Rhythm Planet as well?
No, I don't like stuff that sucks.
We had fun with it. We got in there and we're like, yes, this is overpriced for sure. If it was like, $4.99, $6.99, something like that, we'd be on board. But $20 is just too much. Brain Beats, I think, is absolute trash. Travel the Words. It's a crossword puzzle game that like has nice music and it's super chill. I'd much rather go and meditate playing a nice soothing crossword puzzle game that actually has like decent haptics, while instead of spending $60 on Trip. So I don't know, say what you want about Travel the Words, but I think it's just overpriced.
Cactus Cowboy, Brian. See, when you mentioned shovelware to me earlier today, this was the first thing that popped in my head. But Cactus Cowboy is free. Yep. So does it really fit the definition? I don't think so.
I don't think so. And we've got people in our community that have been playing it and enjoy it.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So I guess the ones that we're really looking at here, because I'm going through and there's really just no evidence of like just absolute brutal, ridiculous schemes for your money here. But as we were asked prior, Midnight Works has put up listings for 3 different games. 3 different games. And we're going to start with Chris Payne Hero, right? And it's called Chris Payne Hero VR, roguelite dungeon shooter simulator. You gotta love the audacity of putting like all the SEO words you could possibly cram into a title in the actual title of the game. Like not even just a description, like in the title of the game. Chris Payne Hero VR, roguelite dungeon shooter simulator. Like, I wonder what kind of game this is, Wes. I just wonder what kind of game this is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't begin to guess.
Well, Chris Payne Roguelite Shooter is a randomly generated multi-level adventure game with elements of third-person shooter and RPG. What can go through a former warrior's head upon seeing an incomprehensible portal in the middle of a road? It is to go through the portal, of course, to explore an alternative past where the world is definitely not ruled by people. Let's see. Fast forward. Experience a game combining shooter gameplay with roguelite, allowing you to experience the game differently each time. Experience a game that combines shooter gameplay with roguelite, allowing... Wait, I just read that. Is this my roguelite experience? Was this sentence difference this time? Over 10 different weapons.
I was going to make a bad joke, but go ahead. My bad.
Over 10 different weapons, including 2 hidden ones to find, over 30 unique items to improve the strength and skill of your character, unique graphic style, large-scale battles to keep you challenged, unforgettable boss fights with interesting mechanics, and the game features elements from the platform genre, is the last bullet point.
I guess they couldn't fit platforming into the title, huh?
Oh, man. All right, so this doesn't actually have a release date, I don't think. So, but obviously the question is it any good, right? And so, yeah. I reached out, you guys. I reached out to Midnight Works because I think without seeing a trailer, without seeing some kind of gameplay, we would definitely be very curious and wonder exactly what this game is all about. Despite the very descriptive title. So they were actually super nice, and they sent me back some trailers. And here is the one for Chris Payne Hero. Let's check this shit out. I mean, it already looks kind of good to me. I'm not joking, Wes. Like, yes, it has a very basic art style, but you're running around shooting stuff like a lot. Right, first-person shooter. Like, I don't know.
Could be good. It could be good. Yeah. I don't know. That's this thing. It's difficult here for us to kind of really go all in the way we want to without having played the games. But it is kind of odd that 3 of them pop up at the same time. They all look very similar in terms of art style and graphics. 2 out of the 3 anyway. I could say that about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's difficult to, for what it's worth, I saw another video earlier today on another channel. I didn't watch it, but I saw like a thumbnail that said something like best military sim or best military shooter or something like that in VR. And the graphics looked exactly like this.
Oh,
so yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm certainly I've been accused of, and I take full ownership of the accusation that I am way too positive and way too optimistic before playing a game, and because I always hope for the best, right? I'm always excited for a new game, no matter what it is, and so I don't know, man. Like I think if there was more to this game, they would have shown the more to this game. But there doesn't seem to be more to this game. I'm very much thinking that this arena that you're in is going to be close to what you see the entire time. Rody, the GameCat Army General, says, "Sorry, Brian, this looks like ass." Yeah. So I will play it. I will let you know. I'm sure it's going to be ass. But this is the one I'm least curious about of the Midnight Works trilogy, as it shall henceforth be known. The next one is, let's see here. Let's bring this shit back up. The next one is, we're getting it up on the screen here, Wes. I need me a Roots. The next one is Run or Die VR, real parkour quest simulator game. I like that they added game at the end.
At least they're, when I see these, the thing that really sticks out to me is that they look like quest games, and they just put it right in the title here. So this is a quest game simulator.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we're gonna. All right, we're gonna give this thing its due diligence. We're gonna.
You know what?
Yep.
Well, I'll never go ahead and read, and we'll get around to it after you read, because I do that. I do have noticed something a little strange about this specific title.
Oh, for real? All right. I mean, it looks. This looks like why? Well, if Joyway isn't going to bring Stride to PSVR2.
There you go. All right.
Is this what you were going to say?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, if I had to describe Joyway and what they're most known for, it's for putting out titles that are derivative of other titles, right?
Right.
Like, everything Joyway puts out is based on another popular flat game title, traditional game.
Yep. And
I just find this kind of like to be this weird inception moment where we have an imitation of the imitation from Midnight Works doing a Stride simulator here.
It's true. So we got Run or Die as a fast-paced game that focuses on movement-based skills. You must use your quick thinking and fast reflexes to navigate through a series of challenging environments. Whether you're sprinting through streets or leaping over gaps and barricades, you'll need to use all your skills to stay alive and emerge as the ultimate survivor. Run or Die is a virtual reality game that puts you in the shoes of a runner who has stumbled upon sensitive information that's made him the target of the police. With the authorities hot on your tail, you'll need to use all your speed and agility to outrun them and escape capture. As you run through a series of challenging environments, you'll need to navigate through tight alleyways and crowded streets, dodging obstacles and enemies along the way. You'll need quick reflexes and strategic thinking to stay alive and outwit the police, using your knowledge of the city and the surrounding area to your advantage. Featuring immersive VR graphics and fast-paced gameplay, Run or Die is a thrilling and intense. Did they say thrilling and intense like constantly? Or that's what it sounds like to me. Experience that puts you in the middle of the action as you fight for survival and try to evade capture. Can you outsmart the police and escape with your life? Let's see the trailer.
Could be fun.
Okay, there's a bow and arrow. There's a pistol that doesn't seem to want to stay in your hand.
Yeah, it doesn't. It likes to float in front of your fist when you shoot it up. Noticed.
There's platforming. You're definitely jumping from place to place. Very curious to see how the parkour works. I see a lot of shooting. I saw climbing of a ladder. Somebody just pushed a green button. Oh, now he's climbing. Now he's shimmying across a horizontal ladder. I'm assuming that these white things coming out of your hands, like those lines, those have to be grappling hooks of some kind, right? I mean, they can't be doing this without totally stealing all of Stride's mechanics, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Again, it's another one that... You know what else is really interesting about this, Wes? They don't put the titles in the trailers. This is looped at least 1 or 2 times, and same as the last one. No title in the trailer.
Well, let's be fair. These trailers came directly from the developer. They may not be ready for, like they're not on YouTube, right? They're not out anywhere else.
I couldn't find them. They may or may not be on the PlayStation Store, but guess what? There's no trailers at all on the PC client of the PlayStation Store, which means that's the only place I look for shit. I don't see screenshots or videos on the PlayStation Store.
It very well could be that these are just work in progress trailers.
They could be.
They're not complete yet.
Yeah, and like I said, I was super thankful that these guys responded and were and were cool enough to send me whatever version of these trailers that they are.
And I'll point out that just by their being so responsive and willing to share, that kind of goes against the narrative that this is shovelware, right?
It does. It does because my guess is that like since they've been so responsive that they'll do their best to send review keys out, and if they're going to send review keys out, then they know that like there's going to be, you know, reviews of the games, which if they're bad games, that's not what they're going to want. So we'll have to see what happens here. I'm not totally sure, but this definitely brings us to I mean, obviously Run or Die. We all thought Stride. We all thought Mirror's Edge, right? There's no question about that. But that brings us to what I think is the funniest clone of the group, and that just has to be Spaceship Imposter VR Multiplayer Deduction Simulator Among Game. Among Game, Wes. They came this close to actually using the fucking words Among Us. Like they did everything but say Among Us. They said Among Game.
Among Game. You should call it Among You.
Among You. Among them.
You'd be surprised. You know, I mentioned to you off air that we used to kind of do episodes that are revolved around shovelware from the Viport store. You'd be surprised at how many titles like this are on there that are obvious clones, and even the title is like a play on the title of the original one. Like there's a lot of it out there. A lot.
Yeah. Dude, the Switch store is crazy. Like the Switch store is just absolutely ridiculous. There's like this kind of stuff just runs rampant over there. And at what point, like a lot of people say, well, how is this stuff getting through Sony's certification process? How is it going through QA? Right. But like, at what point do you stop them? At what point do you say, well, this is no longer allowed because it's literally infringing on the copyright of something like Among Us, right? You can't get closer to Among Us VR than saying Spaceship Imposter VR Multiplayer Deduction Simulator Among Game. Like,
yeah, it's obviously the same core gameplay mechanic. They're using literal terminology from the original game, and artistically, I mean, it looks similar. So, like, yeah, it is a bit weird.
True and Pixels in the chat says, I would have called it Sus Simulator. Sus Simulator. I like that.
Among Sus.
Among Sus. That would be even better. It's only one letter difference. Good stuff. Macho Vasquez in the chat with the $10 tip says, I've had a lot of fun with Drums Rock. A lot. He capitalized it. I had to say it again. I wish they would get more IRL songs or classics like from Bon Jovi. Why don't we have more games like this? Anything with real songs are all guitar, not much drums. I think the reason we don't have a lot more games like this is because first you have to compete with Beat Saber, which is kind of like dominating the VR landscape of the rhythm genre. And if you're not into Beat Saber, then you're probably in the Pistol Whip. And if you're not in the Pistol Whip, you're probably in the Synth Riders. So we have like 3 really big contenders, not to mention Audica. Like, I'm gonna have to get a PSVR2 version. 4 really big contenders for your attention if you like this genre. And then we see what happens with Drums Rock. Like a very small team, right? With not a lot of money. And then what I need from Drums Rock is songs that I recognize. That's what I want more of. And so I was disappointed with it because I was like, even when I get to the harder levels, I'm still going to be playing these songs I don't care about. And I really want to play songs that I care about.
I always have issues with VR drumming games because, and I'm not speaking about Drums Rock specifically. I haven't played it on PSVR2. I don't know how it actually, how good or not good it is. But there's a little bit of weirdness in playing drums with in VR with imaginary sticks and hitting imaginary drums, because obviously there's nothing there in real life. Yeah. And, you know, they can make up for some of that with haptics, but what they can't make up for is typically when you're hitting something, you're swinging through the drum that's supposed to be there. You're literally swinging through it. And what that typically does in the drumming games that I've played is kind of mess up the detection, right? Like on a real drum, you can kind of get a rhythm by feeling the rebound of the stick. Yep. Even if the haptics are perfect, you're still swinging through that, and the hit detection has never been perfect for me. Now, maybe someone has cracked it. Maybe Drums Rock is the one that did it. But my history with VR drumming games is I don't really like them because of this.
Drums Rock is about as close as I've gotten to feeling happy with the hit detection. But yes, I also don't love the fact that my hand isn't rebounding automatically like it would when you hit a real drum. But I did enjoy it for the small amount of time I spent playing it a couple weeks ago. I really did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to getting to the harder levels. So because I know that like rhythm games really hit their stride once you're being really challenged, and when you start feeling good at them enough to take on those challenges. So, yeah, we'll get back to Drums Rock at some point, I think. Okay. So, by the way, Spaceship Imposter VR multiplayer deduction simulator Among Game is scheduled to launch in 2024. I didn't think we had too many 2024 titles. However, Wes, we do have this one to look forward to. I wonder which will come out first.
Yeah, we have 3 more of them today, Ryan. Amazing.
Spaceship Imposter is a multiplayer action and deduction game. This action takes place on a spaceship. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. And is played in first person. You also have the opportunity to be in several roles and use a multitude of methods to become its winner. The main idea of the Spaceship Imposter is to discover the imposter. This goal can only be fulfilled by gradually completing the tasks that are on the entire spaceship. They're just describing Among Us. You also have the opportunity to choose which part of the ship you want to be in and what tasks you want to be responsible for, or share the task with other players. Completing the task and discovering the imposter will become much easier thanks to the option to play in a group with up to 8 people. You can become the winner of the game by following a few theories. The first option is to complete all the tasks on the ship successfully. The next option is to cooperate with the players and be the first to detect the imposter. Subsequently, he is eliminated from the game once detected. Or the opposite. The imposter can be you, and you will influence the game. But in this case, you work against all of the theories and do it in such a way that you are not discovered by the player, and you become the winner of the game. There is nothing different here. They didn't even try to change the concept at all. You're still on a spaceship. You're still performing tasks. You're still trying to figure out who the imposter is. If you're the imposter, you kill other people. I mean, like, they didn't like say, hey, that's a really good concept. Let's change it. Let's improve on it. Let's make a better Among Us game. It's the same game.
So the question here is literally the question you just asked. Which do we get first? Do we get this Spaceship Imposter VR multiplayer deduction simulator Among Game? Or do we get Among Us, which, by the way, coincidentally has a new map being added to the other version?
With still no mention at all of the PSVR version.
Yeah.
Craziness. All right, man. Do you want to check out this trailer? I think we have to.
Sure, I actually thought it was a decent trailer compared to the other ones.
Yeah, for sure. All right. They don't show a whole lot. Like, they don't. No. Yeah. All right. Where is it? Here it is. Online multiplayer social deduction game. I mean, if you don't like the goofiness of the Among Us characters, they went for more of a realistic look here. There's that.
I hope the game looks like that. I might give it, at least something's different,
Everybody sits around a terminal and votes. I'm an imposter. This is it. They show very, very little of this game in this trailer. But that's probably because there's not a whole lot to the game itself.
And they don't show the whole game off.
Yeah.
60 seconds.
I hope this turns out to be good, Wes. And that way we can just say, fuck you, Shell. Like, you snooze, you lose, right?
It'd be great if it turned out to be actually better. Like have multiple maps and actually turned out to be a better game than Among Us. That would be great.
That would be great. I'm actually shocked that it took us this long. That it took other platforms this long to get a new map on Among Us. Like, things should have like 100 maps. It's ridiculous. They're not very complicated.
It should have more activities, like the little things you have to do on the ships.
Yeah.
There's not a very wide variety of them. Though there should be like 50 different things, and they should shuffle every match, just to keep it fresh.
Yeah. There's all sorts of things they could have done with Among Us VR, and instead, I think they brought us a very basic version. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have faith in any of these games. Not really. I will be extremely curious to find out if any of them turn out to be fun. But I think that's I think if any of them do turn out to be fun, it'll be maybe accidental more than anything else.
Right.
We'll find out. So.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Hey Wes, shorter show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in, of course, because we love you dearly. But AJ and I just did a 3-hour one of these on Monday. So
yeah, I tuned in like as I typically do. I got done with work right around like 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and I thought, well, I'll tune in and say hi like I always do. And I got another hour of show. It was great.
So the question is do you have a 20 questions game chosen?
I will by the time that you get the clock up.
All right, guys, you know how this works. Wes is the host today, and we're going to play video game 20 questions, PSVR 20 questions. He's going to pick a PSVR 1 or PSVR2 game, and you guys out there, please, I need all the help I can get. Help me by asking good questions and suggesting good games based on the answers. We only have 6 minutes, and that's the real challenge here. It's the 20 questions is nothing. I feel like I could guess any game in 20 questions. I can't do it in 6 minutes, though. So help us out. Was that enough time for you?
Yeah, I've got one.
Damn, you are good. I'm also in the wrong folder, so let's change that. And on your mark, where's my notebook? Here it is. I never have anything where I need it. Okay, on your mark, get Des, and go. All right. God damn, I already forgot every game. Does this game have multiplayer?
No.
No multiplayer. Okay. Is this game available on PlayStation VR2?
Unfortunately not. No.
Unfortunately not. I think that was a clue, you guys. So it's probably a good game. Was this... Kevin Russ is saying Blood and Truth. I'm gonna try to go there. Was this game a first-party Sony game by any chance?
No.
Okay. Get in my belly. Game Cat Wilkins asks, "Is it horror?"
No, I wouldn't call it horror. I mean, there's a little bit of weird, dark stuff in it, but it's not a horror game.
Okay. Indie Soul Loves VR says, is it a top 25 game? And I guess that means like a game that you would consider top 25 or has ever been on a top 25 list, ever been in a top 25 debate up for the list.
I can't say definitively. I would not be surprised if at some point this had been at least nominated or discussed during a top 25.
That means True and Pixel. It is not Trip.
It's not Trip.
No. Oh, Ian Marsh says, have we mentioned it today? I really like that question, but my brain sucks. So let's ask it anyway.
No, we have not mentioned this game today.
Okay. Mark Pringlesleaf is wondering if there's shooting in this game. Let me go further with that. Is shooting a main mechanic in this game?
No.
Okay. This is going to be a dumb question or a weird question. Are there reasons that we know of that would prevent this game from coming to PSVR 2?
I don't know exactly what you're getting at, but I don't think so. No.
Saying like something like Skyrim, like probably won't come because of.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing like that.
Okay. Okay, so it could come to PSVR or like the studio shut down. You know what I mean? So.
I hope not, but maybe. Yeah. I guess that's possible.
Okay, everybody's wondering. Kevin Russ, Indie Soul, everybody's asking about rhythm games. I mean, sorry, puzzle games. Is it a puzzle game?
Technically, yeah. If you had to put a genre on it, you'd probably call it a puzzle game. There's puzzle elements. It's not like a hardcore puzzler or anything, so don't like trip out over that. But if you had to put a genre on it, you could call it a puzzle game.
Okay. All right. There are a lot of puzzle elements. You said not horror, but it seems like that maybe it was on the fringe of possibly dabbling with that.
I mean, don't
lean into that.
It's
okay.
not a horror game. It's not a horror game.
Okay. Do you have full locomotion in this game?
Yes, that's 10.
Did this come out in the first year of the PSVR lifespan?
No.
Okay. Does this game have sequels on PSVR or other platforms?
Nope.
Has this developer made other PSVR 1 games?
I don't think so.
Man, we don't have a lot to go on here right now. We know that there's puzzles and that there's full locomotion.
Give me just a second. I'll verify that there's not something else going on here, but I'm pretty sure that this is the only title. Yeah, I don't see anything else.
Are there different modes of travel in this game? Like you walk, and then you could also maybe drive, or maybe get in a boat, or maybe something else?
I don't think so. I don't remember anything like that.
Okay. So no vehicles, you guys. Get My Belly. He's asking, is it a known IP?
It is not. I think that's 15.
Oh my God. We only got a minute left. Yeah, was it compatible with the moves?
I thought it was. It's been a long time since I played it. It seems like a game that would be, but it's only listed as DualShock.
Oh man! PlayStation Store. This is craziness. There's puzzles in it. DualShock only. It's not Wanderer. It's not based on known IP, so it's not Doctor Who. Oh my God. Can you climb in this game?
I don't think so. Like you do scale like some mountains and stuff, but I think it's all, you're just walking the path.
You scale some mountains and stuff? Scale mountains in this game, but you walk the path.
Well, yeah, I think it's just path based, and you just find yourself on the top of peaks or maybe some platforms and stuff. Yeah, but I don't think there's climbing mechanics, so to speak.
We're out of time. I throw in the towel.
You've got 3 more questions. Go ahead.
This is bad.
All right, so I'll answer the questions. You don't have to ask them. Is this game exclusive to PlayStation VR? It is.
Exclusive to PSVR?
It's exclusive to PSVR.
Okay,
but it's not first party.
Robinson's not exclusive. To the Top's not exclusive. It can't be Skyrim because we just talked about Bethesda.
Would you consider this game to be a walking simulator? Some people might.
What, an exclusive PlayStation VR 1 game that's a walking sim? This is, dude, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad. It's not Zing because Zing's not exclusive.
No move controllers, apparently. Just like the other walking sim, which is Here They Lie. No move controllers for that one either. Although I seem to remember having like hands in it, but I guess I didn't. I guess I didn't.
I'm just gonna say the Solus Project because that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Well, the Solus Project's not exclusive to PSVR.
All right, man. Give it to me. Give it to me.
But
Uh-huh.
Separation is exclusive to PSVR, and it's quite good. I'm pretty sure you were smitten with this game when it came out.
I was.
And
Wait, what did we say that eliminated separation? Good multiple modes of travel. You use a hot air. This is the game I was referring to when we talked about multiple modes of travel, because you walk and then you find a boat and then you find a hot air balloon
okay, all right. My bad. I blew it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry.
All right, I was just for the record, Looper, who's taking notes right now. I was on the separation path. Everyone in the chat was saying separation, and I got off that path because of those questions.
Okay, that was my fault. That's an error. It's been a long time since I played this game, Brian.
Wes,
I remember it being good. I remember walking through snowy places and figuring out some weird, light puzzles and things like that. So yeah, my bad. I blew it.
So Martin over there at Recluse Industries, who made Separation from top to bottom himself, even did the soundtrack himself. He's kind of a noted musician. He's, from what I know, the last time I checked in on him, he was working on an enhanced version for PC VR, and he wanted to bring it over to PlayStation VR2. But we're just patiently waiting, and so hopefully all those little things that didn't quite work, because yes, it was DualShock only. We desperately wanted two hands in the game. You walked up to cranks and just had to hold the X button down to turn, and I was like, man, if I could just reach out and turn that thing, there's all sorts of tiny problems with this game, but despite those tiny problems, this for me was always like a top 10, top 20 PSVR2 game. I love this game.
The vibe was awesome, right? Just the solitude, and it kind of puts you in this reflective state as you're just kind of making your way through it. Well, I enjoyed it.
It took you a year, Wes.
Obviously, I don't remember everything about it, but I do remember liking it.
It took you a year, but you finally AJ'd the fuck out of this. All right, you guys. Yeah.
My bad. That's a W for Brian.
Wes, what is going on in the land of virtual strangers this week?
Well, a whole lot of me catching up on the PSVR2 library, although I don't think that's what we're covering this week. I do think that it's time for another Game of the Month debate this Friday. So I think that's the road we're going to go down. So in addition to trying to catch up on all the PSVR2 games that I haven't had a chance to play yet, I also have to catch up on all the garbage that came out on other platforms over the last month as well. So busyness.
That's cool. It's very cool. Yeah, guys, if you don't already subscribe to Wes, I like the concept of a Game of the Month. I would steal that from you, but then you'd know that I stole it from you. So let's not do that. If you guys want to participate in the Game of the Month conversation, you guys know where to go. Click the link in the description below and go subscribe to Wes and his friends, which are way cooler than me and my friends. How does that work? Over at Virtual Strangers, where they cover all VR, not just PSVR 2. I feel like you make us well-rounded, Wes. Your presence makes us a well-rounded place to be. So thank you for that.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for the compliment.
All right, guys, we got to go. And honestly, this is how long GamesCasts are supposed to be. It feels like a short episode. I've been saying since we went 3 days a week that they're supposed to be like an hour to hour and 15 minutes maximum. That's how long these episodes are supposed to be. Like, we shouldn't even need timestamps. But thank you to our good friend Jamie, who puts us up on podcast services of your choice. Also, Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, who will likely be back from vacation next week, and timestamps will return when he returns. Also, everybody who helps this channel run, like the moderators, who I love oh so very dearly, and they make my life better each and every day. Everybody who supports the channel financially, not just here, but over there on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, and everybody who tips during a show, like Get in My Belly, Game Cat Wilkins with the $10 tip, who just gave me a ton of pizza. I fucking love you. And I love pizza too, let's be fair. Everybody who sat back and watched the show participated in 20 questions. And all of you who didn't say a goddamn word, we know you're out there and we love you just as much. Happy West Day, Wes.
Happy West Day, Brian.
Man, I'm racking my brain right now, Wes. I can't think of games that came out last month for Game of the Month debate. What the fuck came out last month?
Yeah, I haven't even put the nomination list together yet. It is weird because I was doing the same thing. I was going to try to hype it up a little bit by naming the games that came out last month, but that none of them came to mind. Synapse is the big one, but Synapse just came out like yesterday.
So, right, we've been playing it for 2 weeks, so it feels like last month. Survive must be on that list, right? That came to PSVR2. That's what I've been playing.
Yeah. So let's see. Masternoid would be one.
Okay.
Hubris. Pixel Rip 78.
Nice.
Maybe even Budget Cuts was in there as well.
Man, well, spoilers.
Yeah,
I'm voting for Hubris.
And for those of you who have never tuned into one of these episodes, the entire purpose of it, it's a nomination process for Game of the Year. That way, when we get to the end of the year, we don't have to start from scratch and go through the whole catalog and pick out all the best games. We have a list of 12 months. These were the winners. These were the games of the month. Those are now the nominations for Game of the Year. So that's kind of why we do it. And there was some stuff, even though we couldn't remember it right off the top of our head. We had a few decent games this month.
It's all a blur, dude. It's just a blur. I can't separate one month from another month. It's just all one big absolute mess. Ever since February, I'm just trying to tackle one game at a time and blast through it. I will say, I've said a lot of bad things about Survive on PSVR1 and PSVR2. But the more you play that game, as you already know this, I think, the better it gets. Yeah. Like the later environments are better. You get used to the kind of janky gameplay mechanics, and if you're playing with 3 other people, it's a lot of fun despite all of its issues.
Yeah, it's a good in spite of the jank, right? Because the premise of the game is good. It's solid. They have big maps that are nearly fully explorable. Mm-hmm. You're in there with your friends, and teamwork is crucial. There's a large arsenal. It's story driven. I mean, this is what I wanted Arizona Sunshine to be, honestly. And I love Arizona Sunshine. It's one of my favorite Gen 1 games. This has the depth that I wanted Arizona Sunshine to have. But it also has a lot of jank, which kind of keeps it from being like a Game of the Year contender, so to speak.
Yeah, it needs a lot of polish. But yeah, like you said, the fact that each map is basically like an open world of its own, or at least a large open area. You can, sorry, Looper, I'll have to change the thumbnail or something, because we definitely didn't have a chance to talk about the PlayStation Store discounts. But maybe we'll save that. Maybe Miles and I can talk about it Friday. Yeah. So
there was like 3 of them. I mean, we could mention it now and be done in 30 seconds. There wasn't much there.
There wasn't a whole lot, no. But don't worry, Miles and I will tackle it. I just want to say I checked out the survive mode, or the survival mode of Survive today. Thank you for the donation, by the way, Looper. And it's like it's got all these extra gameplay mechanics, all these extra survival mechanics, where you have to keep yourself hydrated and not hungry, and you get more XP when you're with your friends, and there's just these missions after missions, and they're timed. I sort of wish that this was all just in the core game, but. Yeah, it's almost like maybe a whole other game included in the game.
Maybe Candy Makers will give us a sequel in 10 years, and it'll be almost great then, too, with all this extra stuff in it.
But I'm with Rypop.
Almost great.
Fuck the sewers. The sewers suck and Survive. It is just a fucking mess. You're just following signs and dodging zombies the best you can. I don't want to fight you guys. I'm just getting out of there. Yeah,
maybe my favorite title menu screen ever, though. The fact that it's so interactive, I love it.
Yeah, you can shoot the guys down hanging from the ropes. You can actually just treat it like a wave shooter, stand there and kill zombies. Yeah, good stuff.
Imagine if Firewall 0 Hour had something like that in the lobby. How much better would that have been?
Just imagine. Yeah. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out. We love you all so very much. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.